Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the Commonwealth Cabin. Today I feel like I'm biting off a little more than I can chew in more than one way. Matter of fact, in more than two ways. We're going to talk about a couple things. One of them might be slightly controversial to some folks. That's not the point of this. But there are two things. One that most everybody's heard about out there. It's in the news all the time, that people perceive as a big threat to reselling, at least in the short term. And another one is something that's not on many people's radar, but I do think it really truly is a threat to some resellers out there, maybe even a lot of resellers out there. I don't want to get into that, but we have a lot of great sales. Have a bunch of stuff from viewers, like 12 items. We're not going to go through them all today, but we're going to go through them soon, and we'll pick out a couple today. Let's go take a look. As always, we're going to pull 4, maybe 5 items and then get to the first topic, which is going to be the UPS strike. And it just, or possible strike. And depending on when you're hearing this, you'll know a little bit more than I do. But I do have a couple things to say about it. I think this first sale is in the Minnesota bin. There it is right there. It's been here for a long time. And this one finally sold. This is a vintage Levi's bag, denim bag. And it's from the 70s, I believe. It's a Big E right there. And it's got a couple issues, and it's not one of the famous ones that have, well, I mean, it is somewhat famous, I suppose. But some of these go for crazy good money. See this? Now Design, San Francisco. Right there. You ever see that? You ever see something like this? Pick it up. And a lot of them will have the actual tag from the jeans on it. And they'll go for more money, and they'll be bigger sizes. But this one sold for $74.25 plus shipping. And you have my apologies if a lot of this stuff is kind of fleshed out before this video comes out. But I'm going to try to make a couple predictions, so I guess you'll know if I'm right or wrong by this point. Or maybe you won't. I'm thinking it's pretty close to being to the point where we'll know either way. So here we go. Took about 15 seconds of digging, but I found the right one. Family Guy Stewie. Speak, you clever shrew. Okay, that one sold pretty good money right there. $49.99 plus shipping. Looks like only 2 viewer sales today, so I appreciate that very much. And 2 that I know of anyways. This is not one of them, but it is a cool sale. It's a 1998 Tennessee National Champions hat. And it is made in Taiwan, I think, if I remember. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, let's see here. Made in Taiwan, top of the world. This was a pretty good one, and I don't think anybody else had one out there at the time I listed it. I don't know if they have since. It's been out there a little while, but not too long. That hat right there sold for $25 plus shipping. Came from one of the best vintage buys I've ever had. Next sale is not a huge one, but it came from a lot. We got super cheap. Speaking of super cheap, I got that hat right there for under $25. And this one came, this is all we have left of that CD lot we bought a long time ago. I don't even know how to pronounce this one, y'all. Latrim, L-trim, Latrim, I don't know what it is. Drop that bottom. Never heard of it. $13.25 free ship. One more before we get into a little bit of UPS and then a few more sales, and we're going to get into a topic I think is much more significant for resellers here in a minute. This is, what do they call it, Bashel or something? These were pretty cool little find at an estate sale. Paid $1 a piece for Bashlin. 140DS. They're like, I think they call them gaffs. Linemen, tree climbing gaffs. I think that's what they're called. And I knew they'd sell fairly quickly. I thought they'd sell fairly quickly because the comps on them are pretty good. The sell-through rate, there's not very many listed. If, you know, maybe this might have been the only one out there, and a few sold. So $50, $1 into $50 plus shipping. All right, Joe, I thought I'd talk about this outside for just a second. It's a pretty nice day. It hadn't got too hot just yet. So UPS, I've avoided talking about this topic for a little while. A, because people get upset and yell at each other in the comments. They yell at me. So I'm not going to get into any political debates or any kind of stuff like that about unions and all that stuff. I'm just going to say this as it relates to resellers. And I don't know, the news may already have broken by the time this comes out. I really don't think that this is going to be a prolonged problem. The way that everything sets up right now, you know, the labor unions, the Teamsters in this case, they realize that the labor markets are such that right now is a great leverage point for them to negotiate. And I think they're probably right, and it will probably dissipate over the coming months and year ahead, just the way that the labor markets are, the slow easing of inflation. I don't think it's going to be a long-term issue because both have a ton at stake. UPS, the management, shareholders, all that little disclosure. I don't own any UPS stock currently. I have in the past, you know, ever since I did quit my job, I gave up my pension, or the lion's share of my pension. And ever since I did that, I've been hopefully trying to manage my own portfolio in a way that I have a retirement. And so part of that, because let's face it, UPS deals with the Teamsters and FedEx doesn't, I invested a decent amount of money in FedEx. I actually own FedEx stock, even though ironically I don't ship FedEx very often. I can't even remember the last time I did. And it's just for exactly this reason. And of course that stock has performed far better. But UPS has been doing terrific business over the last few years, the pandemic and everything. And I think that is the point where Teamsters said, hey, you know, this is a good time to negotiate. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of it, but it looks to me, and this may have already happened by now, it may not have already happened, but it looks to me like they've got almost everything they wanted, and I highly doubt they will prolong this thing or even actually strike. They may strike, but it won't last long, because basically what they're negotiating now is the part-time driver salaries or part-time employees, and it just doesn't seem to be very realistic if the full-time drivers are going to put what they've gained at risk for their Teamster brothers. But I could be wrong. Either way, even if it is a strike, I don't think it is a long-term threat to reselling, although I do think that prices for shipping are a huge issue. I think there's another issue that is far, far greater, and we're going to talk about it in just a minute. I actually think there's a few more issues that are far more pressing, and maybe we'll get into them in another day. One of them is fairly simple. This little Harley do-rag sold 22 bucks, you know, free shipping on that. And I got that at that Harley sale not too long ago. This stuff Harley sells well. This isn't the topic I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to talk about it in just a second. We'll pull four more orders, but you know, it is interesting, and I think this is something that could happen. You know, they have like a small business association that bands together, and they, especially with legislation, with governments and state governments, local governments, federal government, and they have a seat at the table on these kind of things. And there's really nothing protecting resellers like me and you out there, if you're a reseller, for this kind of stuff. Not this kind of stuff in particular. I mean, one shipping company isn't going to bring down all of e-commerce, although if there was one that could, it would be UPS for sure. They have incredible infrastructure. So maybe someday somebody will have maybe we should do it. Small Business Association, like Small Resellers Association, SRA. There we go. Funko Pop Ninja Turtle. That one sold for $6 plus shipping. By the way, if you have bought something and didn't leave a message on the actual purchase and left a message, I apologize. It's kind of overwhelming to find everything if it's in the regular messaging system. So thank you if there is a viewer in here in all these sales today that I haven't mentioned. My apologies. I don't mean to do it on purpose. This woman size large flame embroidered Harley vessel for $22.50 plus shipping. We'll do two more sales and then get to something that I do think could develop into a threat for some folks. As I went to grab this one that sold right here, this Stewie, I realized I think we could consolidate into one bin now, and that's exactly what we did. So we have the Oklahoma bin free, which is awesome because we just took pictures of a ton of shoes and need some more space. However, the giant chicken versus Peter has no home. So anyway, here we go. Stewie Griffin 6-inch scale figure, $25 plus shipping. Gotta make sure I ship the right Stewie to the right person now, since there's two of them. And the next one is a viewer sale, and then we're gonna get to our topic. And this viewer sale is because it's an Inaman. It's going to Matt, and as Dave would call him on the Trash to Cash podcast, he'd call him Jack Butt Retro, even though it's not Jack Butt Retro. That is headed to you, Matt. And Matt has a show, and I'm trying to remember what the heck it's called. It's called The Ship Show. Is that what it's called? Live show on YouTube. Matt, thank you very, very much. Thanks for letting me jump into your comments and disrupt things from time to time. That show's on sometimes when I get some work done. So the Inaman is headed out of here. I think there's 3 more left in that barrel, and then we'll have to decide if we want to do like maybe one auction a month on some of these other ones we have. That's not full, by the way. There's stuff behind it, but we'll see. We got a couple more weeks to go on these right here. Matt is up there in the Pacific Northwest, so Matt, I hope he gets things moving for you. Speaking of the Trash to Cash podcast, this was actually a topic on episode, I think 91 maybe. I think that's right. And it's got to do with goodwill, and not just goodwill, because I think if this model somehow takes off, it could be jeopardizing a lot of different thrift stores. You know, there's a thrift store here, or there's a Goodwill here in town. We actually have one here in town, my town, and then when I say in town, I actually mean 35 minutes away to the next town, city. And there are 4 Goodwills there, and they're building a brand new one. I think they're closing one and building another. And I think, from what I've been hearing and what I've been researching, that these newer Goodwills are actually creating areas where e-commerce sales can take place in many different ways, if need be in the future, or maybe they're planning it right now. But the one I want to talk about is a little bit more specific. Now, Dave had mentioned this. I've actually mentioned some similar thing in the past on this show, where people having backdoor access before items come onto, you know, the store, or in this case, the bins. And a lot of people source, you know, predominantly at the bins, depending on where they live. So basically, there's a company who is recruiting people to sell. This company says they have an in with Goodwill, and they're going to get backroom access. I think it was a bin store where they're going to pay. This company is going to pay. So this company is not Goodwill. So it's Goodwill company paying somebody else, a creator, an actor, whatever you want to call it, a picker, who can pick the good items out before the rest of the items hit the floor and sell them live. In this case, I think it would be Whatnot, but it doesn't even matter what the live platform is. And that would be an issue. Can you imagine if this was going on in multiple places all over the country at the bins, let's just say? I don't know how many bins there are, but I'm sure there's a bunch. And people were having backroom access. Of course, you know, Goodwill is all about making money. I get that. But to me, it's telling that they don't want to do this themselves. I think it's because, well, there's 2 reasons. We talked about labor earlier. The labor costs involved as selling, training employees, being able to locate the good items, where pickers, you know, most of us know it when we see it. And so to train somebody, to employ people to do this might be a little bit difficult, but to have an outside company come in, employ somebody, or maybe even work off of an agreement of some sort, some kind of a contract, not necessarily an employee, and somebody that has knowledge, and then take those items from the back room essentially and put them, the high-end ones, put them on an online auction site, and basically not have Goodwill's fingerprints on anything, because I think it would be a negative viewpoint for people to see Goodwill doing that, getting top dollar for those things. Maybe not, maybe I'm crazy. But if that model takes off, imagine thrift stores all over the place employing that strategy and then putting the junk out, right? So sourcing is an issue. I think that sourcing is going to become a greater issue as the years go by, and I want to make a dedicated video about it, but I'm kind of giving you a heads up about something like this, especially if you're a thrifter out there or a bins person out there. I don't usually do thrifting or bins. I'll do them occasionally, but I think that sourcing, obviously it's gotten tighter over the last few years, and that to me is one of the biggest threats to independent resellers like us, is having the good stuff taken before we ever get access to it. The next one's slightly embarrassing here because I made a mistake. The quantity for these Epic 3 woods, I mixed up with the quantity for the Epic driver covers. And what complicates it is this one was to a viewer. So I'm gonna read your message, then I'm gonna send you a message here, Terry. And hopefully I can make up for it. I'll find some merch or find something and I'll send that to you. And if you don't even like that, I'll give you the refund on top of it. You can have the merch for free. So my apologies. Anyway, this one, it did sell for $11.25. It was on 25% off offer. It's been in the store for a while, but I don't suppose you need a 3-wood head cover. Terry, I'm sorry. Love your show. I'm a 2nd grade teacher. I am a full-time picker thrifter in the summer and very part-time during the school year. I feel your pain. My eBay store is Elementary Thrift. I like that. Thanks for all that you do and sharing your positivity and knowledge. Well, awesome. Hopefully you're still positive about me that I made this mistake, but I promise I'll make it right for you. So thank you very much. Been selling a bunch of hats lately, and this is a minor league hat. If you ever find MILB, grab it. Well, don't grab it every single time, but this is an Astros farm team. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's Blues Creek Astros, and it's not like a new era. It's not a fancy one, fitted or anything like that. See that minor league baseball And it is more than likely, well, it's not a stadium giveaway because there's no advertising on it, but it's not a high-end hat, let's just say that. $15 plus shipping. Thought I'd throw in one of these things that was so generously sent to us right here. Riley's Resale sent us these absolutely awesome pins. This makes me very happy. Iron Sheik, Ricky Steamboat, Hot Rod, Paul Orndorff, and Junkyard Dog. Only one of those is still alive, just FYI. Ricky Steamboat. He actually wrestles still every once in a blue moon. Last year he did anyways. And I came up with a bag of about 40 of these pins at a yard sale for $5. I too grew up in the 80s and loved watching WWF on Saturday mornings. Wanted to send you a couple in appreciation for all you do. That is an awesome gift. Very, very grateful for that. I thank you so much. Mickey says he just went full time. Rich, thank you. Very good. I appreciate it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with these just yet, but I'm definitely saving them for myself. I appreciate it. Finally selling out of some of the last of the Creative Memories. The double-branded Creative Memory stuff is what's good. A lot of Creative Memories doesn't go for a lot of money, but some of it still does. Took me a while to dig this one out here, but I got it, and this is one of the worst of the lot we got. I mean, it's still cool, but it didn't sell for much. $5.50 plus shipping. The next one is a sale of one of my childhood heroes. I was actually at his last game where he recorded the record strikeouts, and it was actually a gift from Death Pile Picker. I don't know if it was a gift like to keep or anything. He gave me a couple of different ones, Richard Petty as well. And this was funny because somebody sent me a message like, is the cornflake, are the cornflakes still good? And I'm like, 1991. Have at it. $17.95 plus shipping. This next thing was from Mike Camparella. Did I say that right? Camparelli? I don't know. Don't get mad at me, Mike. But Mike from New York, who I've had the privilege of meeting a couple times, just an unbelievably nice guy. Just wanted to send us a congrats for 100K subscribers on the Picker channel. And, oh, you know what? We need to do that. Anyway, we'll do it in a second. MGM watermarks on these 2 James Bond VHS. Thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate it. He says, can't wait to see you in September at the Reseller Rally. Mike, I can't wait to see you there as well. You are super kind. Says, he didn't watch us at the beginning. He says, but when he saw the first video, he's watched every Picker Flipper and Trash to Cash podcast since. So, Mike, we really, really do appreciate you, brother. Hey, one more note on this topic, and I want to get some info from you out there. How much of that stuff do you see at thrift stores, the behind-the-scenes access? I know people who have told me that they have an in at the Goodwill, and I'm like, man, that's kind of concerning. I mean, good for them, I suppose, but, you know, even employees and stuff like that, and I'm just kind of curious, because there is a lot of money to be made when you're the first. I mean, it's why I try to be the first at a yard sale, right? You can't be first at every garage sale, but you can be first in maybe a couple. But this is a little bit different, you know, where if you know a manager, if you do this, and people are pulling stuff aside and doing backdoor deals and stuff. And it's a little different than Goodwill itself trying to do something to make more money for themselves, which we might not like, but at least that's their prerogative. So, at any rate, just let me know some comments below. I'd be curious to hear about it. And I have to show you this, too, from Finding Keepers Resale. And boy, you guys got it all going on here. You got the cards, you got the stickers, you got the big card with the QR code, you got a website, you have it all going on right here. Tony and Dina, you guys are always awesome to us. Thank you very much. Doing my best to keep up with ADH David Line. That's funny. No doubt. You guys are terrific resellers too, by the way. So we really, really do appreciate this. You guys are awesome. You're over there in the Discord for the Trash to Cash podcast, and we appreciate you. And check this thing out. Should I wear that, y'all? I'll tell you what, I should wear that one time this winter when it gets cold. What do you think? It'll fit me. It's a size large. Ultimate Warrior. It's like a sweatshirt, almost pajama top. That thing is awesome. Thank y'all. I see Reagan out here with the new chicks. You want to introduce me to the new chicks? Ooh. You have names for them yet?
Yeah, but they're not assigned names yet.
No.
No.
Man. How many are there?
6. There's like
6 chicks.
a 10-pointer over there. There's a buck.
Oh, there's a 10-point buck over there?
No, I don't know 10-point, but over
Wow,
there.
big. All right, y'all. We got Turner with some Commonwealth Comedy. Got a card. And some folks have been sending us stuff. Just want to say thank you. We're keeping those. We haven't said what we're going to give away, but everybody who sends us one, we're putting them up here. I got to get a jar or something for them. But don't forget to put your email with it, because that's how I'll contact you. All right, who's this one from?
All right, this one is from Patty McConnell. Did I say that right?
No, Patty McConnell.
McConnell. Patty McConnell.
There you go, bud.
Okay.
All right, and he picked out a joke. There's 3 of them on there, so you're going to read the one you like the best.
Yeah.
All right, go
All
ahead.
right.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to tell our eBay store. It's
Oh, yeah.
10 times, pattern, I think is what it is. 10x pattern.
Can I look?
We got it. 10x pattern. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
What do you call an island populated entirely by cupcakes?
What do you call an island populated entirely by cupcakes? I don't know. What do you got?
You call it deserted.
Deserted. I like that, buddy. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, y'all, we've been selling tons of stuff on our few little whatnot shows, but we're not going to have one for a long time. And we've got some sales at CommonWealthPicker.com. What do you got?
Warren got an Innoman and a We Get Things Moving sticker, and Chad got a CWP sticker.
Okay. Very, very nice. Thank y'all.
Bye, and don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
Hey, I just want to say thank you as always for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Hope your sales are going well out there. Let me know in the comments, and I can't wait to see you next.